Chapter 22 of Fuzzy Mud. Wednesday, November 3rd at 1:45 p.m. At the beginning of each school year, a parent or guardian of every student at Woodbridge Academy was required to fill out a bunch of forms. Among other things, they were to provide the school with their various telephone numbers and emergency contact information. Those numbers were now being called, grade by grade, in alphabetical order. From inside her office, Mrs. Thaxton could hear Mr. Franks and Mrs. Latherley as they made one call after another. "There's been an incident. Your child is perfectly safe. We're just taking extra precautions. No, we need you to personally pick up your daughter. Your babysitter's name is not in our files. If you want to fax or email your signed authorization. No decision has been made yet about tomorrow. We will be sending out a mass email." Mrs. Thaxton knew she should have been making the calls too, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. She had just gotten off the phone with Tamaya's mother, who had telephoned the school after receiving Mr. Latherley's message. No, she had not picked Tamaya up after lunch. Yes, she knew about the rash and was planning to take Tamaya to the doctor, but not until after school. What's this all about? Where is Tamaya? Mrs. DeWaldy was on her way home now. Their best hope was that Tamaya had decided to go home after lunch without telling anyone, but they also knew Tamaya wouldn't have done that. Mrs. Thaxton's chin trembled, and her eyes were blurry with tears. She blamed herself for not putting the school on lockdown the moment she'd heard that Chad Hilligus was missing. She should have done it right then. Better to overreact than to underreact. But she knew the type of boy Chad was. Whatever had happened to him, wherever he was, she hadn't thought it had anything to do with the rest of the school. Not that she hadn't been concerned about him. She had been very concerned. She just hadn't taken his disappearance as a danger sign for the other students. She remembered when Chad and his mother first came to her office. Her mother wrote out a check for the tuition, handed it to her, and then, right in front of Chad, declared, "He's your problem now." Tamaya was different. She was the exact opposite of Chad. She was respectful of her teachers and considerate of others. She followed the rules. She was the type of student a teacher might easily ignore, and that, Mrs. Thaxton now realized, might be why she had gone missing without anyone noticing. Mrs. Thaxton shut her eyes very tight. She knew she needed to be strong in this time of crisis. 2 missing children. 2 missing children in 2 days. She did not yet know that a 3rd child would also be discovered missing. She assumed Marshall was safely back in class. Mr. Davison assumed he was still with the headmistress. No one was worried about poor Marshall.